Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
This is the first Thanksgiving I'm here in New York. Over 20 years. I'm just glad to be here with Rev today and to hand out the food. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's Erica Ford, the Peace Doctor in the building. Here at the National Action Network, it's about thanks. It's about giving. It's about gratitude. It's about love. I feel it is important for you to understand that there's work out here to be done, but it starts with gratitude, it starts with giving, it starts with peace, it starts with love. Let's go.
Before we feed our family, we got to make sure that we feed the community. That's right. That's what it's all about. We got to come with sharp phones. You come and you make sure you show up, serve the community. That's what it's all about.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy.
It's Wednesday.
I thank not only my family, a mother that
July the 1st. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And it's Witness Wednesday. Witness Wednesday. Let's call the day Witness Wednesday. Can I get a witness? Somebody to tell me what's going on in their town, in their perspective nationwide. I see Barbara Jean saying Wednesday afternoon greetings from Chicago. Okay. I want to know what y'all think about what's going on. It's Witness Wednesday. I need a witness Tell me what is going on and what you think about it. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Yep, you're right. James Thomas says on the message board, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and everyone, and can I get a witness this Wednesday? You right on it, James. You're right on it, and Happiness Donut says, time is flying. 4 months until midterms. That's right, 2 months before the big march on Washington. Got a lot to do. Mayor Rodney Jones is letting us know that 2 people breached the top of the Empire State Building and they're in custody. They climbed up the side of the building. The mayor would know that because they have to call him and brief him on these things. So Mayor Jones wanted us to know they have taken him into custody. A lot is going on. Now, as we are approaching the 4th of July, 250th anniversary of this signing of the Declaration of Independence, where the colonies declared themselves free from King George and dictatorship. 250 years later, the blacks that they had enslaved fought their way out of slavery, fought 100 years of Jim Crow legal segregation and degradation, fought to get a Voting Rights Act, fought to get a Civil Rights Act, and now fighting to maintain them. The average American is fighting to make ends meet with this war in Iran. Gas prices went up, food at home and home necessities went up. Now they're beginning to go down, but nobody's reimbursing you for the money you had to spend in the interim. But at the same time that you were struggling to make gas work, the president, Donald Trump is his name, went to North Dakota today on his new Air Force One, a gift from Qatar, worth a $400 million plane, $400 million. And it's a modified Boeing 747, Boeing 748 plane. So he is showing off his luxury while you struggling and I'm struggling. And by the way, to sidestep that it was a gift to him, he had them give it to the country, but then when he leaves office, it goes to his library. Yeah, that's right. If that wasn't bad enough, they have to give disclosure forms on your income, your assets, liabilities as federal officer. So he had to turn over his. In 2025, last year, he netted $2 billion, $1.4 billion from crypto trade. Sitting president made billions of dollars while cost of living is going up, while he's telling y'all he's looking out for the average person. He did $2 billion in profit. Cedric Cooper says, I have the same sentiment of Frederick Douglass, 1852, this 4th of July is not mine, it's yours. Well, that's what I need as a witness, Cedric, because that's what I'm talking about part of the day. I want everybody to tell me, how should blacks celebrate the 4th of July, if at all? And I think that it is, in my opinion, a question we need to ask ourselves, whether we're Republican or Democrat, independent, MAGA, DSA, how should blacks celebrate the 4th of July? Also, at the same time, let's deal with fallout from the Supreme Court decisions on yesterday. The decision to first defeat on a 5-4 vote birthright citizenship being revoked, which was a major blow to Trump. The decision was 6-3, but the rationale on one was that, well, it doesn't break the Constitution, but the Congress needs to do it. But the actual vote was 6-3. Now the fight moves to Congress to see if they're going to come back with a new deportation bill or birthright citizenship bill. Also, the campaign financing laws was a huge deal that they did yesterday, lifting the amount of big party spending. Parties can now spend more money, Democrat, Republican, whatever party, on campaigns that they were not able to do before. And of course, we're watching more of that. We're seeing that in Colorado, it appears some of the Democratic Socialists has won it. And I found this interesting. It goes to my question of the day. There's a poll from the Center of Public Affairs that says, ahead of the 250th anniversary of the country, the survey that the views of the American flag are sharply divided by race, age, and political affiliation, with only about 3 in 10 black adults say they ever display the flag, compared with roughly half of the whites and Hispanic adults. Interesting. Only 3 out of 10 blacks say they ever display the flag, compared to roughly half of white and Hispanic adults. So that goes into my question: how should blacks, in your opinion, celebrate the 4th of July? And are you surprised or taking note that most blacks have never waved the American flag on the 4th of July? Let's talk about all of that, because I'm interested in what you have to say and what you think. I'll share mine as we go, but we're getting ready. We're already Wednesday, getting ready for this 4th of July weekend. Well, what should that look like for us? How should we mark the 4th of July? And all the issues of this man's really flying around a new $400 million Air Force One while people are literally struggling. So a lot to talk about. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. You go to twitter.com, The Rev Al, twitter.com, The Rev Al. Let's get ready to take a break, and we will be right back after this. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back.
Hey, Rev.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out where you're going to be at in New Orleans?
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
Knicks game. They lost. Last night I said I'm not even going down there. I'm going to go to bed. I got to find a Hampton on Chicago. And by halftime I said, man, they ain't going to win this game. They down 29 points. And somebody here today, you've been down. They counted you out. People say there's no way you come back. But I come to tell you, don't quit. For there's another half to play. And God will take you and let you win when the odds are against you. I know they talk about you, but preach anyhow. I know sometimes the pews are empty, but preach anyhow. And when you get up almost where you could win, I looked at it last night and Brunson took the shot. It looked like it was going in to win the game, but the shot hit the rim and all hope was gone. But then an African named Boyd OG just stretched through the crowd and he kicked in the winning shot. If you hold on, God will tip your win.
This organization has been on the front line. People ask me, why do families call us? Because we never leave them. No justice. No justice. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it? Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and we're talking about the president's new $400 million Air Force One while people are trying to make ends meet. We're talking about he made $2 billion last year. Talking about how should blacks celebrate the 4th of July. On our message board, Ella Covington, 1429, is saying, I display a flag at my home all the time because we earned our rights equal to all others. This is my country. All right, Ella. and she displays a flag. They saying less than 20% of blacks has displayed the flag, according to this poll. Willa Smith says, I never displayed an American flag. I appreciate my freedom here in America, but it's still a racist country. All right, Willa, we had two opposing views there. Let's go to Al in Rochester, New York on the phones. Al, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Rev.
Good
How are
afternoon. I'm good.
I don't know how it is where you're at, but it's hot as a blowtorch outside.
It's about that hot here. Yes, sir.
Anyway, I tried to catch you last week. My three favorite artists would be Herbie Hancock. Have you ever heard of the group back in the day called the Crusaders?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, we would play them, me and my family barbecue, and just play the Crusaders all day. Lastly, Isaac Hayes, I stand accused of loving you.
Oh, yeah, that was a classic. Isaac Hayes, Black Moses. I got to know him. He's a great guy, too.
I would play that song, Rev, and break down crying uncontrollably.
Is that right? Is that right?
For no reason. Anyway, the reason I called in today, the Senate met last week. Democratic senator, I forgot his name, listed all the crimes Donald Trump has committed since he's been in the White House. Must have been 20 crimes related to bribery. From the way he explained it, if you give Trump $1 million, you can get anything you want. You can get a job, you can get a promotion. If you run a business, he can remove the regulations for you. That sort of, it's called bribery, in other words. You and I, we can't get away with nothing like that. And for him to sit there out in public, I have to tell people, wake up. You know, as you mentioned so many times, it's not something that we're imagining. This is actually going on as we speak.
Yeah, in our face. I mean, you're looking at it.
Yeah, right.
When I talked about the disclosure that he made $2 billion last year, those disclosure forms just came out yesterday. This is what he signed he made, and $1.25 billion of it in crypto that he helped to promote. As president, he made $2 billion. Flying around in a $400 million plane Cutter gave him. It's in our face. You're right, Al.
Yeah. My daughter works for a health insurance company. She just got notified by her employer. They must have lost 1,000 Medicaid recipients. So now they're going to cut back on the workforce. She may have to look for another job. So it affects everybody. The poor, the working class. He doesn't care. So my message is, people, wake up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't sit back and wait until something happens to start complaining. You know, where were you when all this was going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know.
Yeah. So with that, have a good day, Rep.
All right, Al, good to hear your voice. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio, WERE. Raj.
Hey, Rev, thanks for taking my call. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Oh, that's great. You know, the last caller touched on one of the things that one of the two things I wanted to touch on today. Yesterday, I wanted to finish up a little bit, another thing about Haiti. I was talking about Haiti and about, you know, how, you know, egregious the commentary of what's her name, Megyn Kelly was, because of all the things that egregious things that she was saying. It was just appalling because, like, one of the things America had did back in, 1914, when Wall Street had at the behest of the Marines, they, at the behest of Wall Street, went down to the Haitian bank and just robbed them. Took $500,000 worth of gold reserves and put it into the New York bank, confiscated their wealth. And the bank now today is known as Citigroup. So, you know, that's just one of the things that they did to Haiti, you know, over the years.
Haiti has definitely been exploited by many, including what you referred to. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, no problem. And then the last caller touched on my other reason I called, because I saw that same speech by Senator Chris Murphy, and he was listing the 500-day crimes of Donald Trump and his administration, and he's right. He touched on how what's his name, Stephen Miller. He's the architect of the immigration policies, and now he invested $250,000 in Palantir stock, which has they invest in the surveillance and all that on equipment. So what they've done is spying on these immigrants, and they use that. And so he knew the stock was going to go up, and they knew it too. So about a week later, they got the contract, government contract, I guess through Trump, and it was a no bid, no competition. There was no competition on the bid, so they knew that they were going to get the contract. And now here it is, Stephen Miller. They provide information to ICE so they could spy on the immigrants and give them all the information, you know, so they're harassing and basically kidnapping these immigrants. And Stephen Miller is not only the architect of it, he profited off of it. And then now Trump, he mentioned Senator Murphy. He mentioned that last year they found out that Trump set up some kind of scheme, backdoor scheme, where it was Iran, North Korea, I think, and Russia, three countries. They were dumping money into his meme coin. So Trump got.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, finish that. That's intriguing.
Yeah, he profited off Iran last year. Right. Then he came back, attacked him this year, and for all we know, and then the deal where we are, as Americans, we you know, it's a no-brainer. There was a horrible deal for American people, but you got to question, was it good for him? Because he's gotten all this money through crypto. They could have paid him in advance for what they're taking now from us at the gas pumps, and that's not out the question. That's not out the realm of possibility, because he issues out crypto coins to his customers, and it's on an undisclosed list.
Yeah, crypto is undisclosed. You're right. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Keeping it real. Shopton, 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go to the message board like Ernestine Parrish is on the message board saying, good afternoon, Al Sharpton from Alabama. What part of Alabama? My mama is from Dothan, Alabama, buried there. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keep it real. Sharpton.
This is an important notice to all U.S.
Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Walter Troy, you see him?
He was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was communist. Jack O'Dell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movie would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in. Oh, yeah. Sure. Just us.
Just us.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Yes. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Yes. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. Yes. We thank for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Al Sharpton is here. Yes. We thank
In 1929, a child was born who would one day awaken the conscience of a nation. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not inherit a world ready for justice. He inherited a world resistant to it. Yet through faith and fearless leadership, he transformed struggle into strength and vision into movement.
Yes, we're on the move and no wave of racism can stop us.
Yes, sir.
The burning of our churches will not deter us.
Yes, sir.
The bombing of our homes will not dissuade us.
Yes, sir.
The beating and killing of our clergymen and young people will not divert us.
Yes, sir.
The wanton release of their known murderers will not discourage us. We're on the move now.
Yes, sir.
Like an idea whose time has come.
Yes, sir.
Not even the marching of mighty armies can halt us.
Yes, sir.
We're moving to the land of freedom.
Yes, sir.
His dream was never meant to live in history books. It was meant to live through us. And today, that vision still lives. It lives through leadership that refuses to be silent, and through those entrusted with carrying the legacy forward through the moral leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton and the continued stewardship of Martin Luther King III, ensuring that Dr. King's dream remains a mandate, not a memory. Through National Action Network, that vision remains active, organizing in the streets, advocating in the halls of power, and confronting injustice wherever it exists. Last year, on Dr. King's Day, we stood together and made a vow to keep alive everything Dr. King stood for, not just in word, but in action. We marched, we gathered, and we recommitted ourselves to the work. Since then, the movement has not paused from the National Action Network convention, where leaders came together to organize and build power, to the Keepers of the Dream Gala, an event established in the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to honor those who actively protect, advance, and live out his vision of justice, equality, and service. It is especially meaningful to remember that Mrs. Coretta Scott King was honored at the very first Keepers of the Dream Gala.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
And she did more than honor the dream she protected. At the 2000 March on Washington, Mrs. Coretta Scott King charged Martin Luther King III and Reverend Al Sharpton with the responsibility of carrying forward Dr. King's vision, ensuring that the movement would remain alive, relevant, and unafraid.
And to see them today here warms my heart, because indeed the future of our leadership is in good hands, especially with all the others who are here in support of them. And I want to ask first that Martin Luther King III come forth, and then Reverend Al Sharpton. These young men have done an outstanding job, and we need to continue to support them. I will be there with them, even though I may not be able to walk all the way, but if I have to go in the wheelchair, that'll be all right too. I'll be there. Thank you. God bless you.
And 25 years later, they still stand together. On the 28th of August, 2025, Reverend Al Sharpton and Martin Luther King III stood side by side once again, not by coincidence, but by calling. On a date forever tied to the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., they came together in unity and purpose to keep the dream alive, this time on Wall Street. Wall Street represents power and too often unchecked inequality. So they showed up to declare that economic justice is civil rights and that accountability must exist wherever power lives. Dr. King taught us that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it does not bend on its own. It bends when people are willing to pull it. And we are still pulling, still standing, still holding up the dream, because the work is not finished and the dream still demands defenders.
It is Witness Wednesday. Don't forget, this weekend, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be live Saturday from the Essence Festival in New Orleans. Many of our shapers and molders of the culture and members of Congress will be there on the show with me from New Orleans on Saturday, and then Sunday I will be back in the studios in New York. Both nights I'm going to deal with this $2 billion profit of the president, this $400 million plane while people are trying to make ends meet. And I'm going to deal with these Supreme Court decisions. What are they going to do now that they have ruled, I think, appropriately, though kicking and screaming, about birthright citizenship. But what are they going to do now that they've said political parties can spend money differently? It's going to be a great weekend on Politics Nation. Then, of course, Saturday's Action Rally at the Mother M.E. Zion Church. We're winding down to being ready to go in our own headquarters on our Saturday rallies, but this Saturday rally will be at Mother M.E. Zion, 137th and Lenox, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., and you can watch it if you're not in the New York area. You can watch it live on Impact Television or on nationalactionnetwork.net live stream or YouTube/NAN. The march. I've been on with union leaders today. People are gearing up. They say, Reverend, we definitely need this march. We're going to have our union members there. I want you to be there. I want you to sign up so we know exactly where you are, exactly what you need. Do you need to know where a bus is leaving from near you? Do you want to organize a bus? Or do you have your own means of getting there, just need to know where to start? Because we're going to start at Lincoln Memorial. We're going to be there at our rally. You need to be there. We have not come en masse to Washington and showed our strength. So I'm looking for you, and you. All right, let's go to Jackie in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on our call-in line. Jackie.
It's an honor to speak with you.
Honor's mine.
And I just wanted to say, I don't think that we should celebrate the black people, the black community. I just don't feel like we should celebrate the 4th of July. And as far as, people shouldn't make any ultimate sacrifices just to go to the store. So we just stop going, and making sacrifices and spending our lives going to the grocery store, getting this and getting that. We can wake the entire community up that's against us. But I also would like to say, I feel like Donald Trump and his whole entire administration need to be injected, and we turn them over to the third world countries. You made it clear and you made it plain not to vote for him. He's turned this country upside down with his lies, his hate, his destruction, his corruption, along with his imps that follow him. He's a sick pedophile. He's ruthless. He don't care about anyone. He's sick.
Yeah.
I think he's running the country. I think he's running the country right now, and with dementia or Alzheimer's, and that they're trying to cover it up. I really do. And we as a people need to stop talking and get up and do something.
That's right.
People call in on your show, they call in on Michelle Bryan's show, and they just talk, but they won't get up and do anything.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. They are just talking loud and saying nothing. Let me go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Still Bill.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
I tried to call last week, but the lines were really busy. I wanted to comment on the 15th, 16th anniversary of the death of Michael Jackson, June 25th,
right,
2009. I'm celebrating Black Music Month very, very much. I'm enjoying it. And I'm concentrating on Michael Jackson pretty much. I saw his funeral on TV. And, Reverend, you hit a home run when you delivered the message to his children that nothing was strange about their daddy. What was strange was the crap that he was going through.
That's right.
And I tell you, even his father, Joseph, commented that you hit a home run. And I tell you, I'm glad Michael Jackson's legacy has not died at all. I mean, every minute that you turn on a radio station, there's a Michael Jackson song playing. And I was playing him, last week pretty much. I was playing, songs from Bad, Thriller, Off the Wall, even his Jackson 5 hits. And I am just committed to being a Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, Jackson fan always. Especially LaToya. So I am enjoying Black Music Month very much, Reverend. And as usual, you do a good job. But you know what? I'm taking my attention off of Donald Trump because we know what he's about. And it's just a matter of time before he faces the man upstairs on Judgment Day. And Reverend, I'm signing off, but continue on doing your stellar work that you're doing. And Dominique, I am still Bill, and I will continue to keep it real.
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Still Bill. Let me see if I can get in to St. Louis, talk to RT. RT, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call. I was, last week I was speaking about capitalism, and you were going to bring me back on after the commercial, but my phone ran out of juice, so that's the reason why I'm back on right now. But Here's the thing, Reverend Sharpton. If you look up, if you do an internet search on the definition of capitalism, it'll tell you that capitalism is an economic and political system by which a country's trade and industry is controlled by private owners for profit. So when you think about trade and industry, you think about oil, you think about gas, you think about natural gas. But the problem with the people who say that capitalism is so great, they don't talk about the millions of Native Americans who were destroyed in acquiring these lands and the resources in them. They don't talk about the millions of black people who were harmed during the 240 years of chattel slavery to cultivate the land. So all that is missing out of the conversations when they talk about how great capitalism is. Without this enormous amount of harm being done to people, Reverend Sharpton, you don't have an Elon Musk with a net worth of over $1 trillion. You don't have Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett with net worths of over hundreds of billions. None of that exists without the harm to all these millions of people. But this is the thing that they don't want to talk about that when they talk about capitalism.
No, and thank you for your call. The other thing is that the root word, I say this often, the root word of capitalism is capital. And they don't talk about how they have not had equal access to capital in this country. Any number of studies show blacks cannot get the same bank loans, business loans, mortgages. We do not get the same pay for the same work. So you got this argument, capitalism against socialism. Well, where is the capital in our community for us to even talk about we want to be capitalists? You just come in with Donald Trump and swept out black contractors and subcontractors with wiping out DEI. So what are we talking about? Ella Covington is saying on our message board, Black Americans only have 161 years to celebrate since 1865 freedom, and less than that if you count civil rights being enacted. All right, Ella, I think that history bears you out on that. Let's take a break. Keep it real. Shopton Witness Wednesday. I need a witness. I'll be right back.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
How you doing, sir? All right. It's Claudette Williamson from Atlanta, Georgia. And the last time I saw Reverend Sharpton was in New York City at Sylvia's. And my sister and I pretended that we needed to go to the bathroom so we could go in and see him and say hi from a distance. I'm okay. You look great. My name is Claudette. New York City was Sylvia's.
Oh.
My sister told our house, can I get a picture? So we can see. Wave at you. And today I. Lisa? Yes. Oh, the picture.
We're her children.
Reverend, it's really great to meet you. And were you in? It's an honor to meet you. Okay, come take us out. Thank you.
Take it back there right quick while you more minister. One more, please. I'm still in pose. Oh my God. How you doing? Oh, come on, man. I gotta get a photo. All right. Appreciate you, man.
Have a good one, man.
Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Happy 20th anniversary to Reverend Al Sharpton on 20 years of Keeping It Real. 2 decades of truth-telling, fearless advocacy, and keeping the people informed and empowered. Thank you for always speaking power to justice and standing firm for what's right. Here's to 20 years of impact and many more to come.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Black. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, at ACPD with Defense Fund together, and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this stuff. The only thing that will matter 2 minutes after you're gone is what you did for more than yourself. Think about this. Think about if today is your last day. If this is your last service, what can they say about me? And if you're not satisfied with your own answer, you should leave here today working on yourself and building on what you need to build. Because God is here, He's available to you if you but use what He's giving you to be more than self-indulgent. Now I know many of us come with reasons we won't step out. But I come to tell you that's why God is here. God takes the ones that are the least likely and gets the most done. As I have seen in my life, people that were the unexpected and rejected are the ones that end up the greatest. So don't let whatever mistakes or whatever things that may be in your past hold you back. God is not trapped in your past. God is there for your future. And He's there that every day you wake up was a divine decision He made to give you another opportunity to serve. They all need to be in front of a grand jury. No justice.
And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. This Witness Wednesday, we talking about how should blacks celebrate the 4th of July, or should they celebrate it at all? Talking about the disclosures that the president, Donald Trump, made $2 billion last year. Billion with a B. And I think it was 1.4 billion of that on crypto, money which he promoted. Talking about the Supreme Court decisions yesterday on birthright citizenship and their prior decision on redistricting. And of course, they're saying now, again on yesterday, that political parties' limits on what they can spend on campaigns have been lifted. All right, let's go to Tony in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK in Atlanta. Tony.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for taking my call. I had a couple of things I just wanted to mention. One is there a watchdog organization that is collecting information on the cost of 45's presidency for the first term as well as this term? I mean, that was an expression years ago that said, are you better off now than you were before? And as a result of that, a Democratic candidate lost his position because people didn't feel that a change had occurred until they got back under a Republican regime and realized how better off they were. But is there a watchdog organization that's watching the cost. You know, when the Supreme Court said that he could not be held accountable for what he's doing, it's like all the guardrails were taken off, and he's exploiting the citizenry. He's blowing up the budget, and you know, taking cost, stealing from mama and them and the babies to cover cost of things that were not necessary, like this vanity projects he has, or the war. And the other comment I wanted to ask, or the question I wanted to ask was, did I hear you say earlier on the program that he is flying around in that jet that was given to him by the Saudis?
Yeah.
When the comment was that that plane, but it was going to cost billions to rehab, and they had to do an inch by inch search to make sure there was nothing to compromise him using that as Air Force One. So you're saying he's actually flying around in a plane that, for all we know, is a flying bomb, because we don't know what they have, what technologies they have on board that they can use to compromise our president.
Well, I thank you for your call. I think that you raise interesting points. One, about the watchdog groups, there are various watchdog groups, and they need to be amplified. I'm going to have one on this weekend on Politics Nation. They're there, and they have the facts, but they're not getting the exposure. And I'm going to make sure I do my part in doing that in terms of making them have the right exposure. In terms of the new Air Force One, you're correct. They said it was going to take all this time and all this money, and it is worth a $400 million project. He is out and on it. And I believe he went to North Dakota in it today, bragging about it, while we're suffering, by the way. Let's stay in Atlanta and go to Ron. Ron, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. I don't hear Ron.
This Ron. Thanks, Al. You know, I heard someone say on your show, Al, and I might have heard you say it, that Harlem is not Harlem anymore. But it's a echoing term when we regard to our affectionate, homegrown political power, the civil rights movement. And Atlanta had a voice, and Atlanta had something to say in the civil rights movement. And but today, the very field, what Harlem had to say and what Harlem represents and what Atlanta represents, it's now being to a point of gentrification where we have to question, we should question, what was our sense of moving that caused or allowed on two levels, on a moral level for our struggle and for those who we were struggling against. Gentrification is not a pretty face for now the shading or the new neighborhoods in major cities, because black folks are being displaced, Rev, and you can't do it without black power, who we have elected. And my concern is, we had come to a great movement of Martin Luther King, my generation, and of Elijah Muhammad movement, self-pride, and turning away from addictions and da-da-da-da-da. But why aren't we looking at what's in our face every day, where our housing in our communities are unaffordable and the citizens in our schools are closing because the citizens who's coming in are not dare to bring children in the neighborhood that they have to integrate without. In middle school, high school, maybe elementary, but where is the consciousness, Rip? I want to ask you that question. Where is the consciousness, and should we be, and when will we be able to have this conversation with our white brothers and sisters or with the powers that be? Is the movement of gentrification empowering or scripting the culture of the people who have struggled so hard in this city and have made such a contribution as that?
I think you the witness of the day, because you're absolutely right. One of the things that we are seeing, and the programming of it is very subtle but effective, is we're having the general media. They are defining progressive their way. And therefore, anybody that is in these new elections winning that are young and a new face is progressive. And none of them are black in the long run. Think about that now. And we cut out, and we allow ourselves to be cut out of the conversation, which is why a lot of us that are still left with some media thing are saying, wait a minute, they just had 3 elections, congressional elections in New York. Blacks were not in the race. The DSA progressive candidates, when they said, oh, this is a reduction of black power. They wasn't running against no black folks, but the neighborhoods have been subtly shifted. One of the reasons why we went in National Action Network and bought this new headquarters in Harlem, $6 million, put out the money and we raising the rest to pay it, is to show I'm not going to leave Harlem. How are we going to walk out and let people take the community that produced everybody from Marcus Garvey to Du Bois to Malcolm X and all, and just walk away because we cannot get the mortgages, we cannot get the loans. They're building condos that started $1 million, and it's happening in every major city in this country. And if people are really socialists, they ought to be talking about, well, why aren't y'all socializing the cost of living in these communities? You can't. How you gonna take a $1 million condo, live on a trust fund, and tell me you socialist? And I can't afford. Hey, you open up the can of worms. That's the discussion that I've been having. And I'm not against socialism because Du Bois and others was that. But let's talk real socialism, real capitalism. And I think that it is absolutely an outrage that we've not made gentrification a major issue in this campaign.
Yes. Doc, can I say this real quick? This was high school when I was coming out of high school. Well, I was, when I was in high school, a new school came in the public school, and the name of it was Douglas High School, and they came in popping. They had reputation academically, athletically, and there was a great opportunity to a school. I went to Southwest. Now, recently, just a month or two ago, that it was broadcast that Douglas High has just reinstalled their 9th grade. I'm saying, what? Reinstalled their 9th grade?
Wow.
I didn't know they had taken away the 9th grade. And this is being done all over the country, all over our places. So,
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And the real damage of it, to me, Tony, is that Ron, is that I have one grandchild, Dominique's 7-year-old son. He will not know the Harlem I knew. I knew Harlem as a kid, Adam Clayton Powell, bookstores, all that. He will not know that Harlem. And if he doesn't know the Harlem where blacks were concentrated, had strength, had power, had culture, and all of that, then where does he get that from? He can't get it from communities that don't represent nothing. Mind you, now, they're not breaking out other communities. You still have Chinatown. You still have areas that we know that there's dominated by Irish Americans or Italian Americans or Jewish Americans. We're the only ones that's being diluted, and we're allowing it to happen.
And we have leadership. We have leadership who's having a gleaming name going to other positions where those leaders should not have no future going forward except what we can expect. They're going to do the same thing they have done. They're going to allow gentrification to occur in their community and look like it's a shining badge where it's not.
No,
it's a displacement.
They elected to aid our removal. And we've got to reverse that. That's why I've asked people to help me pay for the House of Justice. 'Cause I'm not going nowhere. And I'm not selling to no developer. I am the developer of a movement right in that building. Let's take a break. Thank you for bringing that up, though. Really wrong. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting you.
It is such a pleasure to be here with Reverend Sharpton and this entire congregation on Juneteenth weekend to not only celebrate freedom, but recognize the work that is still to be done to ensure that that freedom is within the grasp of each and every New Yorker who has helped to build this city. Thank you for having me, as always.
Thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misused them and listened to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke. Stretching itself the millions to billions, give a sense of value. Our history is worthless. We're not a worthless people. We're not a people that are just some ghetto drugs. You know, sometimes we have places that we were destined. And this one shows us who we are.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people, and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time,
In segregation time, we were singing "We Shall Overcome." Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing "The Hoe in the Back of the Bus." So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announced it today. I wish Obama had announced here, because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history.
I see I'm in today's New York Times word puzzle, and they're asking what is Al Sharpton's title for short. It's Rev. I didn't know everybody knew that. But the people in the New York Times, they should call me Rev. They should call me Reverend. No.
In London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
You're live, sir. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5788. 971-877-532-5797. And Ella Covington, 1429, said Trump has been impeached twice and hasn't affected his resume. If the Senate doesn't follow through with conviction and removal from office, it's a waste of time. She is exactly right. Ella's right, which is why you got to vote, which is why you have to change the Senate. He doesn't care about impeachment. The man has got 34 felony indictments. He has changed the whole standard of presidential leadership. You now have a convicted felon sitting in the United States White House, president's home and office, running the country. A convicted felon, also convicted of sexual harassment of a woman, and found by the courts to have to give her millions of dollars. And he's sitting there. And we act like it's normal. He has normalized this kind of behavior. Let's go to Jacob in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WERE. Jacob.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Sharpton, and your global listeners, man. You know, it's such a joy, man, to be able to listen to you, my brother. And you give us just what we need. Just what we need. I put it like that. You know, people are talking about this heat that we're dealing with, right? Every time that little bit of heat hit me, I think about my black enslaved ancestors who had to get out in Mississippi and Alabama and work in it from couldn't see morning to couldn't see night. And here I am complaining. I'm stepping into a car that's got air conditioning to make me cold as I want, and then getting back into a house where I can turn the temperature where I want it. So we ain't got nothing to complain about there. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
But look, you know, they up there talking about this president and, oh, he's so rich. He done got this much money and bitcoins and et cetera, et cetera. He riding around on the jet and everything. I got one thing to say to the believers. I don't care what label you wear. If you believe, one of the scriptures said, what good is it for a man to gain the world and do what?
Lose his own soul.
His soul.
Right.
Huh? Now, that should keep us right in check right there. But, you know, even in Vietnam, my older brother, God rest his soul, he was in Vietnam and he survived it. And he wasn't the same, but he did. But he said while they was over there, all of the black soldiers, the Vietnamese used to call them soul brother number one. Okay? And I went to a school here in Philadelphia, Edison High, that lost more people in Vietnam than any school in the country. So we always remember that here in Philly. But you asked the question, how as a black man in America do I see the 4th of July, right? I still see it like our great ancestor Frederick Douglass said in that speech all them years ago. But at the same time, Rev, I know and see the struggle of my people to get to where me and you talking today.
Right.
And I ain't finna throw that out the window. And I know we got a chance to make a more perfect union. Ray Charles could see that. So I'm going to take this time to enjoy my lovely family that the Creator gave me. Every time that we can get together as a family is a blessed time because we need it, especially us, right? And so if you think, and I'm a Muslim, but if you think I ain't going to take Christmas, Thanksgiving, and whatever, that's the days they give us off, you know.
Right.
If you think I ain't going to enjoy my family, you done lost your mind. And when you talk about the history of Harlem, even Bumpy Johnson got a history in Harlem, don't he?
Yes, he does.
Remember Shaft, you know, the man said, be there, be there. Bumpy was a bad man, and he helped his people, too. Now, I mean, he wasn't, you know what I mean? We ain't saying he an angel, but he still got a history in Harlem, don't he?
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about that. I know some old-timers that
All
knew
right,
him.
there.
All right. Thank
Yes,
you for your
sir.
call. Let me stay in Philly and go to Disco Brian. Disco Brian, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Bless you, Reverend. Bless Brother Jacob. Brother Jacob is definitely the type of man of faith. Let's just say he is a Muslim. He is not an Islamist. There's a big difference between those two things. And his spirit shines, and it warms my soul, but today it cools my soul every time I hear his voice. I wish I could listen to a radio station hosted by Brother Jacob. I know the music and the commentary would be on point. And just to back him up, Rev, I want to say, I wish I could say Frederick Douglass's meditation on the 4th of July was antiquated, that since Dr. King's dream, this country has progressed and moved past Jim Crow. But clearly the GOP, in tandem with the DSA and their puppet master in the Kremlin, are interested in dragging us all back to tyranny. One reflection on this capitalism versus socialism question, Rev. Musk and Bezos aren't capitalists. They are state capitalist monopolists, otherwise known as communists. This big tech broligarchy who got the first row at the inauguration is not what the founder of capitalism, Adam Smith, ever intended. He proposed a well-regulated competitive free market where no one entity could legally be allowed to dominate. Karl Marx, on the other hand, is the economist who proposed a dictatorship of the proletariat. And we see clearly how Karl Marx's dream has manifested in every country that has called itself socialist or communist. So as atrocious as our suffocated, imperfect democratic republic is, thanks to non-voters, Jill Stein voters, and MAGA voters in 2026, I want to ask you this, Rev. Would you rather be here where you're still allowed to host this sacred radio show and still allowed to lead a march in D.C., or would you prefer to live in China, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, or Russia, where dissenters are poisoned, where the opposition is silenced, where marches are repressed, and where protesters are imprisoned, tortured, and murdered? I want to reclaim pluralist democracy and fight for it. Let's be real patriots in the tradition of Thomas Paine and Dr. King. Let's defeat bigotry wherever it rears its head, be it on the far right, the far left, or the corporatist middle. What do you make of that, Rev?
Well, here's what I make of it. I think that you raise a good point contrasting what I can do here and what I could do in the number of countries you named, China, Russia, etc. But I also think that I would add to what you said, that in this country, where I may have different rights than I would have in other countries, I don't have equal access to rights, to liberty, to finance of others in the country. So the tension is not the comparison of me with other countries. The comparison is with me of others in the country. So to be unequal in a better country still makes you unequal. And I think that we've got to, yes, perfect the country where it's not like a totalitarian state, but we cannot use that and celebrate we're not totalitarian. And it's all right that we're unequal and that there's some that are given privileges, opportunities, power, and monies that we cannot get. So America is still got a long way to go. Being better does not make you whole. And I think that that's how what we're fighting for. When I'm standing up for victims of police misconduct that disproportionately happen in our community, or DEI, where people are saying we don't have to diversify, yet you have a diversified tax base. If 32% of New York City is taxpayers, right? then why aren't we getting near that amount of contracts and businesses? And why can't we get that amount in loans to get our mortgages? We're not asking for a favor. We're paying for this. We're paying for this. When people talk about we don't want you in our neighborhood, well, we're paying for the police in your neighborhood with our taxes. We're paying for the fire department in your neighborhood. We're paying for your streets to be clean. So what are you talking about? You're not giving us a handout. We're giving you a handout if we're paying for something that we cannot enjoy. Thank you for your call.
Absolutely, Rev.
Thank you for your call. Let's get ready to take a break. I'm going to take a lot more of your calls. How should we be dealing with the 4th of July? How do we deal with a president riding around in a new Qatar-sponsored jet? Just have made $2 billion last year, and we trying to make ends meet. Let's talk about all that and more. I see Dave Tabb said he was born the same day as I was, October 3rd, 1954. That's when you was born, Dave? You know, I tell the story about the day I was born. It was me, it was a bourgeois black guy, and it was another guy. You ain't one of them guys, are you? Annette Freeman, that's who was in the maternity ward. Me, I was checking out the other two. I started raising hell. They was quiet and polite. Annette Freeman said, thanks, Reverend Al. Keep it real. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Evangelist Ramsey checking in. Keeping it real. Be right back.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode, issuing liens, levies, and...
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special, special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this. The only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, has said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence
bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Where in history is this? He said we always go one step forward and two backward. Well, here we are now. The problem is not Trump. The problem is us. We are allowing ourselves to be lowered and our children to feel inferior because you don't have an I am somebody person. You got our artists calling our women bees. Our others calling us niggas. What happened to us? What happened to black and proud? What happened? I'm gonna vote. What happened? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. What happened to us?
Voting rights! Voting rights. Everyone look here. Say it again, Ms. Pearl. Voting rights. Voting rights. One more time, Ms. Pearl. Voting rights. There we go. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. When do we want it? Now. When do we need it? Now. Yesterday. What do we want? Voting rights. When do we need it? Now. What do we want? Voting rights. When do we need it? Now.
Yeah, is there more calls? Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. Kim Smith saying on the message board, Reverend Sharpton, NBC News reporting Vance calls birthright citizenship ruling a mistake that we're going to correct. Yes, he said that he is definitely looking for the Congress to straighten out the Supreme Court ruling. And I've not heard a lot of callers. I'd be interested in callers letting me know whether they think that people born here should be automatic citizens. Because I had one or two people at a gathering I was at in New Jersey last night. We started our training sessions on how to deal with AI and at our National Action Network Newark Tech Center. And one or two people talk about, I don't think foreigners should be able to be citizens. They displacing us. I said, well, I want to hear from some of y'all, what's your views on birthright citizenship. I think that we need to have that discussion. I'd be very interested. I see someone talked about the people climbing on the Empire State Building. There was a couple that climbed the Empire State Building from, Kim, same guys. Kim Smith said, Reverend Sharpton, did you see these two trespassers scale the Empire State Building to fly peace banner and kiss? Yeah, I did. I saw it, and I think they arrested them. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of ways to call for peace. I'm not going to down them. They come to the march August 28th and won't get arrested, but if that's what they want to do, that's what they're going to do. Let's go back to the phones. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. And I see Audrey Crawford saying, I agree, I don't believe in anchor babies. All right, how do we distinguish anchor babies from people that are here and have a child for whatever reason? How do we slice that apple? And let us remember that this whole debate around birthright citizenship started coming out of slavery, where they were saying that we were born slaves, therefore you can never be free. So it is a very tricky thing in our community. Very tricky. All right, let's go to the phones, though. Let's go to Ira in Washington, D.C. Ira.
Yes, good evening, Brother Sharpton. Thanks for taking my call. I had to backtrack for a second. The last comment you made about people born in the United States or as a citizen, I say yes, they should be considered a citizen if you're born in a country of the United States. They couldn't do that same crazy law with those people that's in 47's administration, because half of them folks are born outside of the country. That's why they can't classify this particular thing as you're not a citizen, because half of them are not United States born citizens. If they look back and classify that, they would be illegal and should be moving up out of this country too. So that's one reason why I think they're playing a game about this United States citizenship. And I understand that. And my second thing is, I know from yesterday I did call you. I had a thing called Edmund Starr, which the gentleman brought to my attention, was the one that made the song called War, What Is It Good For? And I do see that. And I just want to correct that from yesterday. I thought it was Temptations, but it wasn't. And like I said, I try to tell the folks again, the media is being used to cover up the real news and from citizens, the truth, the real world facts that life is messed up. And I saw an article that says 1,000 people are dead in France. And they never broadcast that. They never broadcast the hangings in Florida.
1,000 people are dead in France as a result of what?
They're claiming from the heat, and this is what they're saying, and nobody said anything about it. They're saying it's because of the heat, and because they're kind of blaming on these people buying these AI industries that are taking up all the water in all these places, and people are not getting water. But they said, as I fact-checked it, those people died because they were over 65. That's the claim. They're over 65, and they can't cool their bodies down like regular people, and those people died. But 1,000 people died. Nobody broadcast that. People are being lynched and hung, which black people don't hang themselves from trees and not broadcasting that. And those are things I think that's important as well. And I want people to understand you got to go to radio sources such as your platform got to use radio stations in general or platforms that's going to tell the truth about what it is. That's why I just want to get that point across. Go to a platform that's going to give you your true information and facts which you need to know besides AI. AI is trickery. It tells the truth, and sometimes it don't. That's my point for today, Brother Al. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thank you for your call. Joanna Kemp is writing on the message board that MS Now guest journalist Anand G. Yeah, I know Anand well. He's writing a book on the Neely case everybody needs to read. I'm going to have him at the House of Justice. But Anand is an Indian born in the USA, said he was born here, and Melania Trump wasn't, but they're both American. Interesting. Very interesting. Just like this whole deportation fight, they want to have strict deportation rules where you no longer, Supreme Court ruled this following Trump, you no longer from Haiti or Syria can come seeking asylum, but they're going to impose asylum on some white Afrikaners saying they're fleeing genocide, and even the white media from Europe, United States, etc., can't find no genocide. But they're going to let them come in the country at our expense. But we know what's going on in Haiti, but they can't come. And we're going to pay taxes on this. Again, ain't nobody asking for no favor. We are saying we paid our dues in the military, we paid our dues building the country, never got paid and not getting repaired, and we're paying taxes now or you lock us up. But you treat us differently than others. And to me, it's a sign of cowardness or something wrong with your head to be treated wrong and not say nothing about it. To normalize you being treated wrong is to make you a masochist. Like you enjoy pain. Oh, God, I got to pay my taxes. But I'm not going to stand and make sure you don't mess with my vote and mess with my access to capital, that I got the same right to go to the bank with the same background, get the same loan everybody else. No. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to complain about that. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. March, picket, email, doesn't matter. I will never accept paying equal tax and not getting equal results. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay for you to have what I can't have. And it's on my expense. It's at my expense. Now, you want to give us less? Then cut our tax bill down. Say blacks only have to pay half of what everybody else pays. Let's end that. Yeah, I don't think you want that. Let's take a break. Be right back. Got a lot of callers coming to everybody right after the break. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. I'm surprised to see you here.
Kathy Birds.
Yeah, Kathy Bird.
How are you?
And my lovely wife, Lisa.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them. Now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
How you doing, sir?
All right.
It's Claudette Williamson from Atlanta, Georgia. And the last time I saw Reverend Sharpton was in New York City at Sylvia's. And my sister and I pretended that we needed to go to the bathroom so we could go in and see him and say hi from a distance. I'm okay. You look great. My name's New York City was Sylvia's.
Oh.
My sister told our house, can I get a picture? So we can see. Wave at you, and today I. Lisa? Yes. Oh, the picture. We're her children. Thank you all.
Reverend, it's really great to meet you. And were you in? It's an honor to meet you. Okay, come take a selfie.
Reverend Sharpton,
Thank you.
Peek back here right quick while you momentum. One more, please.
My name is
Thank you, sir. I'm still exposed. How y'all doing? Oh my God. How you doing? Oh, come on, man. I gotta get a photo. All right. Appreciate you, man. God bless you. Have a good one, man.
We need some room. All right, hold on. Michael Jackson is the highest selling artist of all time. No one has sold more records in the history of the planet than Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson said to us, he did not want to just raise the issue of what's happening with him. He said that artists all over the world need people to stand up and protect their rights. And he said, Reverend, if we're going to stand up, if it's for all artists, I'm there. As you know, there's a big rally his fan club is doing this afternoon, but he said, I'm coming to Harlem this morning to meet with community leaders because we want justice in the music industry for all our be some that say, oh, Michael, are you doing this only because of your situation? Michael came to Harlem 2 months ago for the DNC. Now he comes for his own peers because we discussed it. Kathy and I talked about how we watched James Brown struggle, Little Richard struggle. We've seen artists, black and white and Latino struggle. Somewhere this has to stop. We do not buy records. We do not buy CDs to give money to the company. We buy it to support the artists that we like. And we want the artists to be free. We don't want the companies bigger than the artists. We want the people respected and the stars that we make stars to shine in the galaxy for us. And let me say this is the 4th of July weekend. Michael Jackson is an American story. Him and his family rode from Gary, Indiana, to where he's an icon all over the world. Didn't no one give him anything. He sung, he danced, he created, he produced, he spent hours in the studio.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797 or message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and go to our message board. J.D. the poet said the message board is a good place for iron to sharpen iron. I appreciate the knowledge and ideas shared here. You all stay blessed and vigilant. That's a good spirit and good advice, J.D. Cedric Cooper says, dismantling the nation's institutions, debarking the social services of the people, and having the Supreme Court at their knees will make you a dictator. Well, that's where we're real close to now. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Rick in Germany. Rick, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good day, Brother Sharpton. Good day.
Good day to you.
Let me start out by saying I was saddened to hear that WNOV, the Keith Parrish show, closed their show today in Milwaukee, promoting and fellowshipping in alcohol. I can say to you and your audience that alcohol destroys the body. I am using alcohol as medicine against the parasites, and the alcohol is killing me just as much as the parasites. So I would hope and pray that Keith Parrish would keep alcohol away from his children and the next generation. I called today to talk about socialism, and I want to say to your audience, those who came up in the 60s and remember the original Star Trek series, most of them don't know that the backstory, the hidden story that Gene Roddenberry wrote about that series was that socialism, nonviolent, non-warlike, gripped the planet, swept the planet, and saved humanity. That story is sometimes in the book versions of Star Trek, and it is around the Khan, the Khan Noonien Singh episodes in Star Trek fiction, in paperback pulp fiction. But socialism there in America now exists, but it exists for the rich. Socialism for the people is what you need. And last but not least, brother man, regenerative farming. Without regenerative farming, life on planet Earth will end in mass human extinction because we have destroyed the atmosphere and we are melting the polar ice caps, and that will cause more cataclysms on the planet. Brother man, I'm done.
All right, thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. I see Joanne Kemp on our message board saying Trump was quick to say nasty things about Robert Mueller and Rob Reiner, but mum on his boy Mitch McConnell. Very interesting. James Thomas is saying, all I can say is to all the 90 million Americans who didn't vote, are you feeling the pain of your stupidity? Good question. In fact, great question, James. Let's go to Baltimore, Maryland, to David. David?
Yes, hello?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Just want to talk a little bit about today. And I spent a few weeks back about the, Carmela Anthony, Austin Metcalf, verdict and everything. And I hear a lot of people, social media, a lot of people in general saying he didn't get a fair trial, that they were, he got too harsh of a sentence. But actually, Mr. Sharpton, he could have got up to 99 years. So they're saying 35 years is too much. But not really if you murder somebody. And I keep hearing and saying, he didn't have the right jurors on there. But if he's wrong, if he killed somebody, he's wrong. It doesn't make no difference if you're black or white, because I know a lot of people justify it, for different reasons. But if you kill somebody, you kill somebody. And people are saying, well, he's just protecting himself, you know what I mean? And I hear Jasmine Crockett, talk about, well, it's just a little small knife. Well, a little small knife can kill people too. I've seen it happen before. A lot of things can kill people. And
well, let me ask you this. So the fact that there's concern about the makeup of the jury shouldn't have anything to do with the verdict, as far as you're concerned.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying, though, that's like saying, that certain nationalities don't have integrity.
So I'm just saying, so we should accept the verdict of a jury. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, they have to be fair. I mean, and it doesn't make no difference what race they are.
All
I don't care if
so do you feel then that we should have abided by the verdict of the jury on Donald Trump, who convicted him of 34 felonies?
I mean, yeah, pretty much the same.
So
same rule
why didn't the judge put him in jail based on 34 felonies and what the law calls for felony charges?
Well, I can't answer that question.
I know you can't, because there's different strokes for different
folks. I'm not even
folks.
talking about that.
I know you're not. I know you're not, but I am. If you're talking about juries, and you can't say, on one hand, that Donald Trump says they stacked the jury against me for political reasons, but when people in a community that is diverse is saying, how do you have an all-white jury on this young man, and you do not give him the same sentencing that others got for the same conviction, then we don't want to talk about juries no more. You can't have it both ways.
But he come right out. He come right out and said Carmelo Anthony was honest. I give him credit for that. He come right and said he's not, a presumed suspect. He actually did it. So he told on himself right there. So
and no one is saying to do anything other than what they would do with somebody else under the same circumstances. And
I'm gonna be like my boy on Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith said, "What are y'all defending? You're defending a murder, and Al Sharpton, you're supposed to be a Christian. Read Exodus chapter 20. It says, "Thou shalt not kill." I mean, I know. Maybe
it also says, "Thou shalt not lie." It also said, "Thou shalt not steal." I'm saying if Carmela said what he did, he ought to have the same equal punishment of everybody else. But why are you going to quote Exodus on him and you're going to go mum when it gets to Trump? If Trump did what he said, what the jury said, the same Exodus said, "Thou shalt not steal." He was convicted of stealing. You can't have a selective Bible reading. And you sure can't have selective commandments.
Well, I can't can't you just, have an old-fashioned fight? Have an old-fashioned fight. You ain't got to kill somebody.
And you don't have to defraud people and rob people and act like you were the victim of some conspiracy. Let's have both ways, equal. Thank you, David. Nice try, but I got you. We'll be right back. Keeping it real, Shopton.
Breaking news.
Voting rights.
Everyone look here.
Say it again, Miss Pearl.
Voting rights.
Voting rights. One more time, Miss Pearl.
Voting rights.
There we go.
Voting rights. Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we need it?
Now. Yesterday.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Center itself, the millions to billions, give a sense of value. Our history is worthless. We're not a worthless people. We're not a people that are just some ghetto dwellers. You know, sometimes in places that we were destined. And this shows us that we are. Tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
I thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misuse them and listen to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
This is the first Thanksgiving I'm here in New York. Over 20 years. I'm just glad to be here with Rev today and to hand out the food. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's Erica Ford, the Peace Doctor in the building. Here at the National Action Network, it's about thanks. It's about giving. It's about gratitude. It's about love. I feel it is important for you to understand that there's work out here to be done, but it starts with gratitude, it starts with giving, it starts with peace, it starts with love.
Let's go. Before we feed our family, we got to make sure that we feed the community. That's right. That's what it's all about.
I'm
We
your
have to come
host,
with Sharpton phones. You come with
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. James Thomas is saying on the message board, what about Ken Paxton, who pardoned a sexual predator who molested a 13-year-old boy? I wonder if David thinks he's a hero. Wow. That's a good one, James. That's a good question to ask. Let's go to Georgia, WAOK, to Miss Pat. Miss Pat, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
How you doing, Mr. Al?
I'm doing good.
You know, it's kind of crazy to me. You know, back in the day in the 60s, you know, our men was always taking care of families. Now, there was some springs, but the 90% stayed with us. And they did the best they could what they had. And they took their sons and tried to make them brick masons or carpenters or mechanics. They tried to do something to give him a head start. We're talking about today. Today is a whole ball of confusion. Young men do not know how to brick mason. Young men don't know how to work. Young men, the father is taking the wrong step. I don't know the fathers. I'm just going by what I see. What we do need, if you got a child over there, get them two women together and let them know, okay, this is my child, but this is what I want them to do. So that giving them a head start, trying to see something so when they get to their father's spot, he got something to pass to the kids, to the teenagers or the adults. But what's going on today, they are out there shooting each other for nothing. The fathers go way over there. Some fathers do tap them. Some fathers do jack them. Some fathers do let them know, you are my seed, boy. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that. We need more of that than we is to let them do what they're doing today because they only going by hormones. And hormones are dangerous for a young man who don't know how to handle himself. Because in a minute here, we're going to be left out here by ourselves. And it's going to be bad. So I wish that we all get together and get our kids in line, just like they did back in the day with Wall Street. They throw them in the river with shackles on them, and they showing us now all of the dead. They are alive. They are dead, but they look like they are alive. So we need to deal with our history and leave this other stuff alone until we get our house in check.
All right.
Then we can spread out.
All right. Thank you for your call. Let me stay in Atlanta. Go to the Sage of the South, Brother Jihad. Brother Jihad, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, Reverend Sharpton, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. You know, I listened to the conversation with you and the guy on the jury, and he's given us a definition of a jury, but the jury have people. You know what I'm talking about? And people have biases. You know what I mean? They even say a jury could be tainted. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's acted like just the idea of a jury is just right. You know what I mean? But you have human beings on jury. You know what I mean? And human beings can have biases that won't be fair in the judgment. You know what I mean? And then prosecutors definitely can have biases where I'd wipe somebody off the jury strictly because they're black when you're dealing with a black defendant.
Right.
So he's saying that you should have trust in them, but you shouldn't have trust in the black juror.
Right.
So according to the prosecutor, you know what I mean? You know, you know what kills me about them, Rev? They just say stuff just like they write all the time.
Yeah.
Like they just like, it's like, you know, don't even question me. You know
Yeah, they have such conviction, you know. And
yeah, they are.
if juries were always right, then why do they have appeals courts? And
That's right.
and why do they have jury verdicts set aside? I mean, Come on.
That's exactly right. That's right.
People have the right to question the jury. That's why you can appeal a verdict. It is just crazy. But again, you'll question the jury with Donald Trump. Say all of that was set up. And notice now, he lost all of that, appeal everything.
Right.
But you don't question that. But with Kamala, we ain't got a right to question an all-white jury in the community that he comes from.
Right. It's absolutely insane. And then the other game they're playing now, and what I want us to do is this socialism, capitalism, communism thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is a game they play.
Right.
Because the reality of it is when we study socialism, capitalism, and communism, these systems came from men.
Right.
These were men who introduced those systems.
Right. Right.
And what those men did was the hypocrisy of what the men did was all of us are socialists to some degree, all of us are capitalists to some degree, and all of us practice communism to some degree in our nature, in the nature of human beings. We want to share, we want to own things, we want to do things that help the group, we want to also progress ourselves independently. You know what I mean? All of those systems, they copied out of the nature of people. And what they did was they set up societies based on the extreme of each one of those systems.
That's right.
You know what I'm talking about? And that's actually what's causing the problem. But keep in mind that they did this. You know what I mean? They talk as if, Trump said that the socialist is a communist, so that because they know that that's a buzzword that's going to take them for a loop. You know what I mean? Now you calling common sense people communists because they say they want to share, because they say they want to help.
Right.
Because they say they want people not to suffer. Now you making them communists? You know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous. So we fall into that little game they play because we understand history and we understand where these systems come from. And there's no system on the earth that man practiced that he didn't get from observing man's behavior in this material world.
Absolutely
and
right.
Take it to one extreme or the other. Thanks, Reverend Al. I appreciate it.
All right, good to hear your voice. And I see Kim came back with one on the same issue. Said, what about look at the O.J. Simpson case? Oh, they didn't want to take that verdict. They ostracized O.J. till he died. And now taking his name down off the Buffalo Bears Stadium. But the jury said he was innocent. Huh? I can't hear you. Yeah, I thought you'd shut up now. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Shopton. Be right back.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid.
In 1929, a child was born who would one day awaken the conscience of a nation. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not inherit a world ready for justice. He inherited a world resistant to it. Yet through faith and fearless leadership, he transformed struggle into strength and vision into movement.
Yes, we're on the move and no wave of racism can stop us.
Yes, sir.
The burning of our churches will not deter us.
Yes, sir.
The bombing of our homes will not dissuade us.
Yes, sir.
The beating and killing of our clergymen and young people will not divert us.
Yes, sir.
The wanton release of their known murderers will not discourage us. We're on the move now.
Yes, sir.
Like an idea whose time has come.
Yes, sir.
Not even the marching of mighty armies can halt us.
Yes, sir.
We're moving to the land of freedom.
Yes, sir.
His dream was never meant to live in history books. It was meant to live through us. And today, that vision still lives. It lives through leadership that refuses to be silent, and through those entrusted with carrying the legacy forward through the moral leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton and the continued stewardship of Martin Luther King III, ensuring that Dr. King's dream remains a mandate, not a memory. Through National Action Network, that vision remains active, organizing in the streets, advocating in the halls of power, and confronting injustice wherever it exists. Last year, on Dr. King's Day, we stood together and made a vow to keep alive everything Dr. King stood for, not just in word, but in action. We marched, we gathered, and we recommitted ourselves to the work. Since then, the movement has not paused from the National Action Network Convention, where leaders came together to organize and build power to the Keepers of the Dream Gala, an event established in the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to honor those who actively protect, advance, and live out his vision of justice, equality, and service. It is especially meaningful to remember that Mrs. Coretta Scott King was honored at the very first Keepers of the Dream Gala.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
And she did more than honor the dream she protected. At the 2000 March on Washington, Mrs. Coretta Scott King charged Martin Luther King III and Reverend Al Sharpton with the responsibility of carrying forward Dr. King's vision, ensuring that the movement would remain alive, relevant, and unafraid.
And to see them today here warms my heart, because indeed the future of our leadership is in good hands, especially with all the others who are here in support of them. And I want to ask first that Martin Luther King III come forth, and then Reverend Al Sharpton. These young men have done an outstanding job, and we need to continue to support them. I will be there with them, even though I may not be able to walk all the way, but if I have to go in the wheelchair, that'll be all right too. I'll be there. Thank you. God bless you.
And 25 years later, they still stand together. On the 28th of August, 2025, Reverend Al Sharpton and Martin Luther King III stood side by side once again, not by coincidence, but by calling. On a date forever tied to the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., they came together in unity and purpose to keep the dream alive, this time on Wall Street. Wall Street represents power and too often unchecked inequality. So they showed up to declare that economic justice is civil rights and that accountability must exist wherever power lives. Dr. King taught us that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it does not bend on its own. It bends when people are willing to pull it. And we are still pulling, still standing, still holding up the dream, because the work is not finished and the dream still demands defenders. He is a tireless civil rights leader, a fearless voice for justice, and the president and founder of the National Action Network, which proudly marks its 35th anniversary of fighting for justice, equality, and accountability. Please welcome Reverend Al Sharpton.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And it went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the business, that HCPD would put forward together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go on the message board. Let me say to you, don't you forget. I've been on the phones booking people on the holiday weekend, and we're going to have some good guests in the U.S. Senate, in the Congress. Some right there will be with me in New Orleans for the Essence Festival. I really got to dig down this weekend about this whole Supreme Court ruling, what they're going to do in terms of follow-up, how we're dealing with the DSA issue. It's going to be off and popping, as the kids say. Make sure you watch Politics Nation both Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be doing live from New Orleans Essence Festival on Saturday and back live in New York on Sunday. Watch both nights. I'm live. I don't take off the holiday. And, of course, the Saturday Action Rally be at the House with the House of Justice Rally. It's at Mother AME Zion, 137th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And you that are not in New York, you can watch it live on Impact Television or NationalActionNetwork.net, or you can watch it on YouTube/NAN. I am looking for you to sign up for the National Action Network National March, August 28th in Washington, D.C. Sign up so we can be in touch and ask you, do you need a bus? Do you need a bus near you? Are you flying? Here's the information. Let us follow it up. We need tens of thousands to stand up in the nation's capital. Don't complain about it. Show up. All right, let's go to the phone. Let's go to David in Maryland. David?
Yes, Reverend Sharpton, thank you for everything you're doing. I got one question. My question is, can we pay into an escrow account our taxes, into an escrow account that will be held legally so we will not be charged with being tax evaders, and will hold our tax money until we get the service in our communities, just like you were pointing out today so accurately, that we pay for and others benefit in their communities, and it's our money. I just want to ask that question. Can we pay into an escrow account so until things are changed? Thank you.
I'd have to get a lawyer on that one. But thank you for your call. Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati. Ray?
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call, Red. Red, when you was talking with David, I saw that setup coming before you even said anything. He's too dumb to realize you was going to come back on Trump. But you guys were talking about the jury selections. I had, a racist talk show host called Bill Cunningham?
Yeah.
Okay, I had called this show one day, and then I asked him, I said, Mr. Cunningham, if you had killed a black man and you had a black judge, a black bailiff, 12 black jurors, and one black prosecutor and a black defendant, before I said anything else, he said, "I'm screwed." I said, "Well, why would you say that? You don't think black folks can be fair when it comes to a white defendant?" He had nothing to say. And then I said, "We deal with that on a daily basis, you know, and we've been dealing with that on a daily basis for decades. So why would you feel like you wouldn't get a fair trial because everybody in that court was black?" He had nothing to say. Not one thing to say.
Wow.
And so, but I'm surprised that the kid that was convicted, when they nullified all of the black jurors, and I had an all-white jury, that can come under appeal, don't you think? Or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's what I said. Absolutely, it could be appeal. But the question is how long they keep them dangling while they're appealing. But it definitely can be appealed.
Right. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you when you said that. So I'm just saying that whites feel differently when it comes to blacks in the courtroom, and because I don't think. Have you ever heard of 12 black jurors on a case?
No, I've never heard that. I had to think a minute. I've never heard that.
Yep, and it'll never happen. So, all right, Red. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you for your call. Let me go to Janet in Houston, Texas. Janet.
Hi, this is you, Rev. How are you, Rev?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am awesome. Very privileged to be able to speak to you today. And I just wanted to once again thank you for your morning thoughts.
Well, thank
you.
They
are tremendously a part of my devotional process, actually.
Really?
And particularly, yes, it's a part of my quiet time in the morning. And I want to really thank you again for making relevant, particularly to today, the timeliness of my book. And I just love the fact that you're still talking about purpose, and it makes the connection to my book that much more germane to today. So I thank you again for who you are, what you do, and just persevering.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Tell everybody about your book and how they can get it.
It's entitled Human GPS, God's Perfect Script, The Fulfillment of My Why, and it's available on Amazon.
And the name of it?
Human GPS, like the navigational system, and that GPS stands for God's Perfect Script, The Fulfillment of My Why.
Now, why do you think people have such a hard time, Janet, wrestling with and being at peace with finding their purpose?
I think because we just think that we are here and that there really isn't a correlation for the timeliness in which God selected you for this moment in time, not 100 years earlier, 10 years earlier, 10 days earlier or later. There's a purpose in life for everything. Nothing is taken for granted. In the Bible, it talks about if you have faith the size of a mustard seed. And so the analogy of the mustard seed states that it too, regardless of its size, has a purpose. And when put in the right environment, becomes one of the biggest trees that is evidenced. So if a mustard seed that you can barely hold at the tip of one finger has such significance, why then not mankind that is created in God's image? And when we are able, as you said this morning, to really sit down and assess, who am I? Where are my likes, my dislikes coming from? What does that say about me? The selection of each gene and the strength that it took for you to be made, the number of sperm that had to get to that egg to create you and specifically you, speaks to the power that God had in mind for you?
I think I couldn't have said it better. I think you're absolutely right, and I think people should read your book. I think people should absolutely know that the whole purpose in life is to find purpose, and I think that a lot of us kind of just I want to say it right. A lot of us just kind of wander around the corridor of life and never really, not really stop and say, okay, this is what I'm about.
Very true.
And then we get frustrated, and the frustration is not justified, in my opinion, because you can't arrive where you're not headed. And you got to know where you're headed in order to arrive.
True. And I think the frustration becomes the path that many use to not actualize their purpose. I'm going to give a personal example of being born on purpose. 50 years ago, I became saved in January at Reverend Augusta Jones Church.
Okay.
He was one of my mentors. And he and I had several conversations. Fast forward, I was a part of Christian Cultural Center. Your path and my path were parallel for years. And for such a time as this, so that you and I could be speaking today.
Wow, that's
God, and that is the power of
definitely God. Well, I hear the music. I have to go. Thank you for calling in. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real.